is one of the current division leaders, up 2 full games on both Minnesota and Green Bay.
They have an opportunity to control their own fate as it pertains to the playoff picture, and they cannot afford to be swept by these Chicago Bears, who did beat them earlier in the season in Week 4.
Bears win the toss, they defer, and so Detroit will receive the football to begin. Andre Roberts, who has been good in the return game, will play it. Roberts able to cross the 20 barely, and that is where Matthew Stafford and the Lions offense will begin a return of 22 yards. He has been nearly perfect during this 7-1 stretch. 14 touchdowns, only 1 pick. His worst statistical game of the season actually came against the Bears back in Week 4 in Chicago. The only time he's thrown 2 picks in a game this season. They did have to shuffle their offensive line today. Graham Glasgow, who started the last 6 at left guard, is at center. Travis Swanson is out with a concussion, and no Theo Riddick today, who's been so good for them. The passing game out of the backfield out with an ankle, and so Dwayne Washington, who was their workhorse for much of that second half last week against the Saints. 1st and 10. So Stafford from the gun, off-balance throw, low, and it is caught, say the officials, by Golden Tate. First down play to get the party started, a pickup of 11. How about John Fox and the Chicago defense? Akeem Hicks, selected as the NFC Defensive Player of the Week last week in the win, had a couple of sacks and 11 tackles, one of the best games of his career. Nick Kwiatkowski makes another start. Jarrell Freeman still serving that 4-game suspension, and Tracy Porter headlines the back end. Porter, the longtime 9-year NFL veteran, in his 2nd season with the Bears.
Alert, alert, tag 53! Ready! Lady! Like that!
1st and 10, run play call. This is Washington able to find the edge and cross the 35-yard line. Solomon, what will be looking for early in this game?
Well, I think the Chicago Bears, this defense, they have to be able to really sustain pressure on Matthew Stafford. He's operating without Theo Riddick. You've got to be able to speed up his mental clock and force him to get rid of the ball. And if you're Detroit, it starts with stopping the powerful running game featuring Jordan Howard. He's been really good at breaking tackles. Here's a look at Theo Riddick, one of the best receiving running backs in the NFL, and really an important part of making this Detroit offense go.
Riddick had another touchdown reception last week in that 28-13 win against Drew Brees and the Saints. 2nd and 7, play clock down to 1. Washington again takes a hard hit right around the 37-yard line as he pays the price for a couple. And you know, the one thing about this offense, Solomon, as good as they've been during this stretch as a team overall, the offense has struggled a little bit last week. You know, a couple of Matt Prater field goals, didn't really get into the end zone as many times as they would have liked.
It's amazing. This team has won 8 games as you take a look at their offense coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, but they've not been able to run the ball effectively. That's why they've struggled down inside the red zone, and Jim Bob Cooter said they have to get better in that area here today.
What does Cooter dial up here on 3rd and 5? Just inside the 38. Stafford slinging it over the middle. That is caught. Marvin Jones, who was out last week, didn't play with a thigh injury, picks up 7 on his first catch, and another Detroit first down.
This is Matthew Stafford at his best. He trusts that the receivers are going to get to their mark in between the corner and the linebacker, Leonard Floyd. This is a very tight window to squeeze that ball in there on that slant play, and a lot of credit to Marvin Jones for having the courage to go get it.
43rd catch on the season for Jones. Former 5th-round pick of the Bengals in 2012. Spent his first 4 years in Cincinnati. Washington resets, flying Stafford. First down pass is caught. That's the tight end, Eric Ebron, and he's brought down right after the catch by Harold Jones-Quartey, the 2nd-year safety and former undrafted pick of Arizona back in 2015.
Matthew Stafford, we talk about how much he has improved during the 2016 season. Ever since Jim Bob Cooter took over as the offense coordinator in the midway point of last year, they have asked him to do more within the offense, to be able to adjust, side adjust to what the defense gives him. And as you can see, he's getting rid of the ball quickly, making good decisions of where to go with the football.
Stafford works from the gun. Play action on 2nd and 8. Goes to the airways again, and it's caught. Second reception for Golden Tate. will have enough for another Detroit first down, finally brought down by Crayvon LeBlanc. And this is Stafford, career high completion percentage. Zalman on the money again.
It's really about the timing of the passing route. As soon as Golden Tate turned around, that ball was right on top of him. And you can see they're in sync. And it goes, I think, a long way into talking about how Matthew Stafford is dialed into the coverage, but he's also in sync with these receivers, and he's spreading it around more than we've ever seen him do it back in the days when he played with Calvin Johnson.
Stafford for his first 4, 31 yards. One play called here. And you mentioned Jim Bob Cooter. You know, one of the first meetings that they had, they sat down and Cooter told him, I want you to take more ownership of the offense, more vocal, and he's done all of those things, as you see what he's done since week 8 of last season when Cooter took over for Lombardi, the man who was fired as their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and take a look at that number. 41 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions since week 8 of last year. And real bright offense coordinator in Jim Bob Cooter, asking more of his quarterback, and so you got to put the work in during the week to be able to make good decisions on game day.
A tough decision that Jim Caldwell had to make last year at 1-7, firing his coordinator Joe Lombardi. And what a decision that's turned out to be. That's Tate again. Already doing some nice things, putting his imprint on this game early. A pickup of 5 as he breaks tackles, and that's one area where he has excelled. Leads the league in yards after catch.
Now that was a play where they actually were in sync. And you can see week 4 against Chicago, Golden Tate did not have a good day. In fact, had to be benched for running the wrong route. But now they're much more in sync. Golden Tate with Matthew Stafford, I think that play was a great example of great catch and run, where he's one of the best receivers in the league at doing that.
So that sets up a 3rd and 2. 9th play of the drive that began at their own 22. Stafford still 5 of 5. Under pressure, a penalty flag is thrown. Multiple flags come in. They'll sack Stafford for a huge loss. We'll await the penalty. It was Hicks and Leonard Floyd, their highly touted first round draft choice, getting there for the Bears. It's a loss of 11. And now we wait the call.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, number 71, offense. That penalty is declined. Holding, number 68, offense. That penalty is also declined. 4th down.
We said they had to contain Matthew Stafford, get on top of him, but take a look at this play here. Parnell McPhee comes from the outside. He'll come here. Watch Floyd come here. And watch how they just pinch the pocket. And Stafford can't escape. He's been very good at getting out of the pocket, but there you see they pinch and contain simultaneously, forcing the holding call on the Detroit Lions.
So Jeff Triplett and this crew, they have called more penalties on average than any crew in the NFL. So we're going to keep tabs on St. Martin's punt. And this is into the end zone. Only the 2nd touchback from Martin in 47 punts on the season. 3rd straight start for Matt Barkley, 4th-year man out of USC. First time starting as a road quarterback. Probably should be 2-0. Solomon, we had that game at home against Tennessee a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. Josh Bellamy drops what appeared to be a routine go-ahead touchdown.
I had a chance to win that game. Matt Barkley made great plays. Let's see if he can do it on the road here in Detroit.
May have been some movement pre-snap from the defensive side of the football, as that pass is incomplete, the ruling, but it appeared to be Tahir Whitehead who came across the line of scrimmage early.
Offside, number 59, defense in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 1st down.
All right, so Tahir Whitehead, the man penalized. Offensive starters, Josh Shitten returning last week from that 1-game absence, was out with the ankle injury. And Jordan Howard, what a season for the rookie, 2nd among all first-year running backs in rush yards, behind only the Cowboys' Ezekiel Elliott. 1st and 5 after the penalty. 1 play called, and Howard going backwards. Defensive starters for Jim Caldwell and Terrell Austin. Haloti Ngata, who has been one of the best in the business for a long time. 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time former All-Pro, and DeAndre Levy making his return. He's been out since that Week 1 knee injury. Glover Quinn, the headliner, Pro Bowl safety. On the back end of that Detroit defense, and that is a sight for sore eyes for Lions fans. A guy who's barely been on the field last season, limited to just 17 snaps because of multiple injuries. And his long road back, Salmon, has finally taken him to the field here in Week 14 of 2016.
Yeah, as soon as he comes on the field, he has to take on a block, and he has to make this tackle. I just think it's a great play. Watch, you're going to see him here. He comes here and then gets into the hole. Watch how he takes on the block of the fullback. Stuff him right there. You win with that outside shoulder, you can wrap up and tackle. Remember, this is one of the best tackling defenses in the NFL, led by their coordinator, Terrell Austin.
Bears barely get it off before the play clock. That third down pass is caught. And Barkley throwing that through a very tight window to the tight end, Daniel Brown, the second-year man out of James Madison. They pick up 7 and a first down.
Without Zach Miller, Daniel Brown has stepped up at that tight end position. But this is what Barkley does very well. He's a highly accurate passer, but when the ball comes out quick and on the money, he can take advantage of the spacing on any defense, and the offensive line doesn't have to hold their protection nearly as long.
Barkley, the third different starting quarterback for the Bears this season. And of course, had to shut down Jake Cutler with that shoulder injury. So he is done for the year. That pass is caught. It's Cameron Meredith. A pickup of 11, and Barkley already showing his confidence as he continues to get comfortable, Solomon, in this offense.
Yeah, you can see, watch, he's got some great passing lanes, but accuracy is not a problem. This ball's right on top of his intended receiver, Cameron Meredith. If these wide receivers catch the ball, okay, like we know they can, they're going to be able to make some plays today, and they're just going to have to be patient, working down the field, taking what the defense will give.
It's a big if.
That's right.
13 drops by Bears receivers in the 2 games since Barkley has taken over. Howard has a wide open seam of real estate, taking on Lions tacklers inside the Detroit 30. A burst of 28 by the rookie running back out of Indiana, finally brought down by Walker and Lawson.
Play is going to hit right in there, Spiro. And look, they got the right angles, good blocking. Josh Sitton doing a really good job, and then you get him to the second level. Jordan Howard can really do some damage when he gets into space. He had his first career 100-yard rushing game against these Lions in Week 4. If he can do it again here today, they stand an excellent chance of coming in here and stealing a win.
117 yards and 3 touchdowns in their home win last week against San Francisco. This time Howard is going backwards. Jeremy Langford was their starting running back at the beginning of the season, and he was inactive between weeks 4 and 7 with an ankle. Since then, Howard has taken over, and really they've never looked back.
And the 3 rushing touchdowns last week, just phenomenal in terms of what he's doing as a rookie runner. They have leaned on him, and he's come through. And what I love about him, Spiro, he gets better as the game goes on.
Incredible rushing numbers from him. First Bears rookie to rush for 100+ in his first 2 starts, and he has gotten better as the weeks have gone on. 2nd and 9. Quick strike. This is Meredith again, making guys miss, spinning his way inside the 20, and so a good-looking opening possession for the Bears, a pickup of 8 here, and that'll set up a 3rd and short.
Well, you know, we talk about the Lions being that defense. They have missed the fewest tackles of any defense so far this year, but they're going to be tested today. It's not easy to tackle a strong, hard-charging running back like Jordan Howard, and these receivers are elusive enough, quick enough in space to test your ability to tackle as well. And there you see the fans here. They're wanting the defense to get the stop and force the field goal and only settle for 3 points.
Chicago getting a little bit louder.
Say 30 seconds.
And so John Fox and the Bears have to burn their first timeout. Biggest play of this game coming up with under 4 minutes left in the quarter. Oh, coming up tomorrow on CBS, Deck the Halls, and don't miss the holiday episode of TV's #1 new comedy, Kevin Can Wait. It's all new tomorrow, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Oh, you ask everyone around town about these Lions, Solomon. They're excited, but it's almost like there's a weight wait-and-see approach. They've had so much bad luck here for so many years, and of course always something special about this rivalry.
Well, there's no doubt, but these Lions, they've won their share against the Chicago Bears, but now find themselves trying to avoid a sweep in 2016.
One play called to Howard, and that has usually been a pretty good idea for the Bears this season. Howard just lowers his shoulder, picks up the first down. As they move the chains yet again, it's a pickup of 4. Chicago in business, a fresh set of downs.
Chicago Bears, they've got to be able to stand strong defensively. They're going to protect their 2-game lead in the division. Of course, John Fox, he knows these coaches for the Detroit Lions very well. So he feels like his team is ready to come in here and play well today.
9th play of the drive, 1st and 10, just inside the 15. Little pitch play to the rookie Howard again. One thing that John Fox has told us about this kid, Solomon, he's got incredible vision. We know he's got the tools, he's got a good build, low center of gravity, but he's patient, sees, and lets the play develop before he hits it.
And that's why you saw them giving him an opportunity on that first down play to just try to get the ball in his hands. When you get inside the red zone, this is where your power run game has to work for you. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to him here or some form of play action to see if they can get one of the receivers open behind the defense.
Howard has averaged better than 106 rushing yards since week 8. That's tied for the best in that stretch with San Diego's Melvin Gordon. Looks like a false start penalty here.
False start. Number 62 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's their 7th-year guard, Ted Larson. And that'll move him back a bit. With 2 and change left in the quarter.
Give the defense a lot of credit for the Detroit Lions. Terrell Austin wants his defense to not give Matt Barkley an early read on what they're doing by alignment. And Glover Quinn, he's really good at helping the defense disguise what they want to do and be able to move around. Terrell Austin's hiding in the shadows here at Ford Field, but this defense has played well. They've done a good job of keeping teams out of the end zone.
Looks like the football was botched on the snap, but the play is quickly whistled dead. Another flag thrown.
Delay of game offense.
Wow.
5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And right now the Bears have a look of a team that's 3-9.
Well, they've already had to blow 1 timeout because they were kind of confused in terms of what they wanted to do on offense. We'll see if that comes back to haunt them. And then they've had some of these penalties that's now they're moving backwards. They've had the ball down inside the 10-yard line, and now they're outside the 20.
Meredith in motion, play action from Barkley on 2nd and 15 under duress, and nowhere to go but just to throw it into the turf. Howard was the nearest receiver. Devin Taylor applying pressure on Barkley. It'll be 3rd and 15 coming up.
Well, Barkley's playing with some very young players on this offense. Remember, 11 of their opening day 22 starters are out due to suspensions or injuries. You can see there's some confusion here. It's not well blocked. It's not well organized. And you can see he's barking at some of the players in the huddle saying, hey, we got to get lined up and we have to know our assignments.
Third and 15. Barkley slinging it off the hands of the defender, Raphael Bush. And on 4th down, John Fox will send out his field goal unit with Matt Prater.
Oh, Bush does a really good job. Watch him come down.
Connor Barth.
Come down from that safety position and slant right down inside of Meredith to get the jump with the ball. Nearly intercepted it. It's just good reads. This secondary, they'll play 6, sometimes 7 defenders in that secondary, making it tough for the quarterback.
So here is Barth. This will be a 38-yard attempt. 9th-year kicker. And the North Carolina. Good spot. Good hold. And Barth able to salvage 3 points for the Bears. 3-0 Chicago in late stages of the first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Amazon Prime. Get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. And by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level.
Ford Field all decked out in their holiday best. Some of the young fans hanging out with Santa. A lot of Bears fans in attendance as the snow comes down. They're talking about 9 inches here in downtown Detroit.
Cozy inside, not so much on the outside.
Nice and toasty for sure here at Ford Field, one of the great stadiums and loudest venues in the NFL. Connor Barth boots it away with about 90 seconds left in the quarter. So we've had 2 extended drives. Both have stalled. And right now the Bears out in front of Stafford and Detroit. Well, each NFL team nominates one player for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award presented by Nationwide. The prestigious honor recognizes NFL players who've made a significant impact both on the field and in their communities. Sam Acho and Don Carey nominated by the Bears and the Lions. Winner will be announced at the NFL Honors Award Show on February the 4th. And to learn all about this year's nominees, you can visit NFL.com/Man of the Year. And that has become a very, very big deal, so congratulations to both of those gentlemen. There's Matthew Stafford after the Lions' first drive ended in a punt, beginning from their own 25. Stafford, 5 of his first 5 on their first possession. This is the rookie runner, Dwayne Washington, and we touched on Jim Bob Cooter, who they hired midway through last season, a former backup Solomon at Tennessee. And this guy's ascension has been steady, and he has been talked about as one of the rising, bright offensive minds in the NFL.
James Robert Cooter. A lot of people don't know a whole lot about him, but he's very bright, very talented, understands both sides of the ball. It was Phil Fulmer, who had been the coach at Tennessee, first coach to spoken to Jim Caldwell when he was the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and suggested that he hire Jim Bob Cooter.
So Cooter calls here. Fake handoff, secondary pass is caught. That's the tight end, Ebron, and we asked Caldwell about that right when he had taken the head coaching position in Indy in 2009. He said he had that opening in his offensive staff, and somebody told us, I couldn't put anyone in that room with Peyton Manning. And once that recommendation came down, he spent some time with him. He knew that Cooter was the guy.
It's a high learning curve. Even John Fox, when he got the head coaching job in Chicago 1 year ago, he put in permission to talk to Jim Bob Cooter. The Lions denied permission for them to even talk to him. So he's highly thought of amongst both head coaches.
There was some confusion, perhaps a botched play there. So Stafford nowhere to go but to throw it out of bounds. And now a late flag will be thrown behind the line of scrimmage. We'll get the call from Triplett.
Looks like they're going to call intentional grounding.
And from that vantage point, it appeared as though Stafford was still within the tackle box, and that is what the officials perhaps are discussing here. It looked as though Zach Zenner, one of their backup running backs, Solomon, was running the wrong route.
Grounding. Number 9, offense. The quarterback was still in the pocket,
Now watch.
and there was no receiver in the area.
Zenner should go here, but he comes underneath.
Loss of down.
Stafford can't hand the ball off. And he's forced to just dump it. He doesn't want to take the hit, take the punishment. And so he's telling, hey, the tight end still should have been in the area, even though Zenner went the wrong way. So right now, the Lions offense not coordinated very well.
Keep in mind, no Theo Riddick today for the Lions if you've just joined us, out with an ankle injury. So Zenner has to play. He was actually their best running back last week statistically. After Washington had to leave the game, was nicked up in the third quarter. And he gets his number called here, brought down by Floyd and Kwiatkowski as that takes us to the end of the first. 3-0. Bears will return to Chicago after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Intel. Upgrade to a new PC with powerful performance.
Ford Field in Detroit, better than 64,000 for the Lions and the Bears. Second and final meeting between these two longtime division rivals. Dwayne Washington flanks Stafford here on 3rd and 18. Detroit has been very good, best in fact on 3rd and 10+ yards on the season. Won't get nearly enough here. Needed the Chicago 48, just trying to pick up some positive yardage. And you see Stafford, Solomon, putting a glove on his right throwing hand during that timeout.
Absolutely, and he took a hit from Leonard Floyd just trying to get rid of the ball. But watch that right hand, watch. Don't know if he jammed a thumb or one of the fingers on that throwing hand, but when you go to the glove, you're looking to get a little more tact, a little more feel on the football, and just gives that hand a little bit more strength on your grip.
So first 2 Detroit possessions ending in punts, and what a gem here. Trayvon LeBlanc has to watch that one take a bounce. Beautifully pinpointed by Sam Martin, 57 yards, as they continue to look at Stafford's hand. Well, during the break, the trainers on the Detroit sideline were putting a piece of tape, looked like on the right index finger of Matthew Stafford's throwing hand. They got the glove back on. He'll take some warm-up tosses. So Stafford appears to be okay, but something to keep tabs on here as Barkley and the Bears offense back onto the field. Barkley, dangerous territory from his own end zone, has his man wide open, Deonte Thompson, just inside the 30. So a big play by the Bears to get him some breathing room, a pickup of 24 and a first down.
Yeah, Nevin Lawson in coverage, but you could see here's the pressure. He was holding the ball for quite some time there. He's able to elude the pressure, step up in the pocket, able to find his intended receiver Thompson, but Lawson got to be able to tighten up on that play. The Bears getting themselves some room to operate in.
Thompson, who entered the league as a Raven undrafted in 2012, is actually on that Super Bowl roster that Jim Caldwell was a coach on as well on the offensive side of the ball. Howard tackled on the play by Levy. Wednesday on Survivor, it's the final battle in the Culture War Clash. 3 millennials versus 3 Gen X. Which generation will deliver the sole survivor? Don't miss the season finale, followed by the live reunion show, Wednesday, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Ford Field, downtown Detroit. Snowy conditions outside. As Matt Barkley works from the gun. Had to put some air under it to get it to Meredith. 3rd catch for Cam Meredith, the 2nd-year receiver who is thrust into a higher role. No Eddie Royal today and no Marquess Wilson, so a thin receiving corps, Solomon, that already is without Alshon Jeffrey, who's serving the final suspension of his 4-game ban, gets a little bit thinner.
But what happened when we talked to John Fox about these young group of wide receivers who've dropped so many passes over the last 2 games? He says, hey, at least they're getting open. he looked at the bright side of it, and yes, they are getting open, and that's what we talked about. If they can just hold on to the ball, they can make plays, and we've seen that here in the first half.
Barkley, 6 of his first 8 here, just under 60 yards. Play action on 1st and 10. That one a little bit behind the intended receiver. That's Daniel Braverman, the former 7th-round pick, the rookie out of Western Michigan. And I got to say, we sat with Barkley yesterday. I know this is only his 3rd career start, but this is a guy who's got 3 years of experience under his belt. He just has the look of a guy who's a little bit more seasoned, Solomon, and comfortable finally getting a chance.
John Fox, I think he cited Kurt Warner's career and say, hey, he came out of nowhere and became a player in this league, came a star, a Super Bowl MVP. It could happen.
One play called on 2nd down, and that Detroit defense was not fooled. And this is a big year, of course, for Barkley. We know he's a free agent at season's end. This is basically his first chance to prove to the league that he is worthy of being a starting quarterback.
Yeah, John Fox wasn't saying that he's going to be the Super Bowl MVP that Kurt Warner was, but he talked about and cited a lot of players that he's coached in the past that he has seen come out of nowhere and begin to win and just do all the right things by working hard and become a significant player in this league. He says that Barkley has a great pedigree.
Barkley slinging it on 3rd and 11 through the hands of the intended receiver. Josh Bellamy, who of course has had his issues with the drops. Darius Slay on the coverage. Bellamy did bounce back from the end of that Tennessee game last week. Had a career high 93 yards in the win over San Francisco, but that's a catch he felt he should have made.
Well, these receivers have to be able to make the catches on contested balls. In other words, if the defender's hanging over them, if it hits their hands, they've got to find a way to come down with it.
Pat O'Donnell, former 6th-round pick, and a little fake by Andre Roberts. Breaking tackles, and Roberts breaking free. Only the punter is back, and now they're able to get in front of him. There is a marker thrown way back at around the 25-yard line of Detroit. It's a 37-yard return by Roberts. And now we await the call from Triplett.
He had so much field to work with. I thought he was going to get to the
Here
end
to
zone.
return. Illegal block in the back. Number 44, the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
That's newly signed Joique Bell, the man penalized. So that very impressive return by Roberts is coming back. Well, Barkley has gone from no gloves to one on his throwing hand. Now he's got a glove on both hands. It was the Matthew Stafford, I beg your pardon. It was the right index finger that they applied a piece of tape on the tip of that index finger. So something that we'll have to keep an eye on here as Stafford gives to Zenner. And that could be a tricky thing, Salman, of course, for a quarterback. But what a season, of course, it's been for Barkley. Rough start so far here.
Yeah, he injured that finger. He was whacked on it by Leonard Floyd. Came over, put the glove on, and then he took the glove off, got taped up, put the glove back on the right hand, that throwing hand, and didn't quite feel right. Said he's going to go with 2 gloves, and then he took the glove back off. Now he's playing with 1 glove on that throwing hand.
Stafford so far 6 of his first 7 as he tries to fight his way through some of the issues. That time completes to Marvin Jones. I've got Matt Barkley on the brain, but Stafford, of course, doing his thing now with this Detroit offense. 4 glove changes, Simon. That is a career high. We have confirmed this with our crack statisticians here in Detroit.
All in 1 quarter. All in one. It's really about him just getting a feel. Remember, he's a former baseball player, so he has the ability to throw the ball from different platforms. He'll drop his arm angle, and I've seen him throw in a variety of fashion, but still maintain a high level of accuracy.
Zach Zenner shifting pre-snap and now flanking Stafford on 3rd and 4. Play clock down to 2. Stafford working from the gun over the middle, finds the tight end. That is Ebron. Tackle just inside the 30. That'll be enough for a Detroit first down, a pickup of 8. And Stafford tries to get this offense going.
Well, he does a good job. Look, he's reading the defense, and as you can see, Eric Ebron detached from coverage from Kwiatkowski. He's able to just deliver that ball, be able to convert, pick up the first down, and this is where Matthew Stafford now will go into his routine of using the clock to read the defense. He's going to be able to make plays, pre-snap read, and then find the open receiver.
Back 44! Back 44!
Fresh set of downs here. Play action from Stafford under pressure. Marker thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Bears giving chase. You see Stafford, that little shovel pass at the end of the play. We'll see where the officials marked the football. It was Mitch Unrein giving chase. And Jeff Triplett, true to form, has been very busy in this first half.
Holding, number 68 offense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 2nd down.
It's their 16th overall pick, first rounder out of Ohio State, Taylor Decker, who has been very good this season for Jim Caldwell.
The offensive line is much improved here in Detroit. They still have to do a better job of generating a rushing attack. Ranked 29th, averaging 80 rushing yards per game. They can do better to add balance to the offense for Matthew Stafford.
Why to that? Ready?
Play clock again down to 1. Stafford's pass is caught. Little leap and grab over the middle by Golden Tate, who's been busy in this first half. It's another first down, a pickup of 14. Tate, 4 catches for 42 yards.
And this is what I meant by Matthew Stafford diagnosing the defense, reading it, and he and his receivers being on the same page. They're seeing the same things. They're sight adjusting. That's really big in this offense to be able to adjust to what the coverage is giving them. But that accuracy, you could see it on that throw from Stafford.
Good statistical start for Stafford, who has been so efficient during the 7-1 stretch for Detroit. One play called by Cooter. And Dwayne Washington, the rookie runner, breaking free. Another flag thrown back right around the line of scrimmage. It's a 14-yard run if it stands. Harold Jones-Quartey, the safety for Chicago, on the tackle.
Use the hands. Hands to the face. Number 60, the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
It's Graham Glasgow, the young man who is sliding over from left guard to center. No Travis Swanson, their usual starter, out with a concussion.
There he is right there in the middle of the frame. How about that? The hands is to his face. They called it on the wrong guy. They're going to take this play off the board. 91, Eddie Goldman. This is just completely wrong. It's not on Glasgow. That was on the defense. And they take a really good run play off the board from Detroit by calling the wrong guy.
I'm surprised there wasn't more of an argument from Glasgow on that Detroit sideline. So that is a huge break for the Bears. They take a 14-yard run off the board. 1st and 20 after the penalty. That pass intended for Jones is incomplete. And now a flag is thrown. It was Tracy Porter among the Bears defenders.
Now they're going to pick up the flag.
Okay, so the flag is picked up. And now Detroit has to go deep into the playbook here. On the 2nd and long. Detroit needing the 50 to move the chains. 2nd and 20 officially. Stafford again absorbing some of that pressure, finds Zenner out of the backfield, and Zenner is tackled right around the 33. Pick up a 3. We go to New York and an update with James Brown.
Steelers have dominated quarter one.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell, second touchdown of the day, 7 yards out. Pittsburgh 195 yards, Buffalo -1, and Sully, you're right. That was an unbelievable call up there on the legal hands to the face.
Coach Cowher got eyes everywhere. That's our coach.
Updated look at the AFC North standings. Fun rivalry games around the NFL today in Week 14. So Stafford trying to recover after what appeared to be just an incorrect call flat out. 3rd and 17. Stafford under pressure. Leonard Floyd giving chase. Nice little juke move to free himself up. Stafford takes a shot, and it is caught. Marvin Jones on the comebacker. There is a flag thrown behind the line of scrimmage again. It's a 48-yard pass play. And once again, we will await the call from Triplett.
Not so sure where this flag is being thrown.
Holding prior to the pass. Defense. The penalties decline. Returning the plays, first down.
Well, you're going to see Marvin Jones starts off here and will come clear to the other side of the field. Watch, you'll see him come across, and Matthew Stafford, because he keeps his vision down the field, is able to locate Marvin Jones, who we told you at the top, Spiro, is their best speed threat down the field. He stretches the field and open up everything else underneath for the other receivers. Give a lot of credit to the offensive line for protecting Stafford, and then Stafford keeping his vision downfield to find the open receiver.
And how about the little spin move by Stafford to free himself up against Floyd, who is coming with the heat. So the 48-yard pass play stands, run play called here. And that's the kind of sneaky mobility that has been just another layer of Stafford's success. We asked him about it, and he said in the past, he wasn't as inclined to run because he always, was looking down the field for a guy like Calvin Johnson, but that has been an added wrinkle to his game. Already has set a career mark for rushing yards, Solomon, in a season.
I think it's amazing how much he tailored his game to make sure that he utilized Calvin Johnson in the offense in the past. And you can't blame him, because Calvin Johnson is a great person and a great player, But now in his absence, Stafford is really relying on himself, and he's grown as a result.
Then playing the drive that began at their own 15. Quick strike. This is Center again. Taking on tacklers close to the Chicago 10. Tracy Porter on the tackle. And granted, this is a Bears team that's only 3-9, but it is a defense that has shown just incredible improvement under John Fox, now up to 7th in the league in total defense.
Yeah, and what did John Fox tell him? He said, well, Jim Bob Cooter, that's our offense. Talking about the one they used in Denver when Jim Bob Cooter coached under John Fox, working with Peyton Manning there. So this defense with the Bears are dialed in to what Detroit wants to do on offense.
On 3rd and 3, Stafford's pass intended for Tate is broken up. Terrific defensive play by Bryce Callahan, the second-year corner out of Rice.
Good coverage against Golden Tate, who's so good at coming out of the break, his start and stop ability. Jim Caldwell talked about it. Look, you can't play better coverage and not have pass interference. Just good defense. This Lions offense, even last week, struggled down inside the red zone and have to settle for a field goal here.
Well, here's Matt Prater, who has been money in the bank for Detroit last week, setting a single-game career high with 5 made field goals. This chip shot from 29 as Detroit finally able to get on the board at the 4:17 mark of the second. Matthew Stafford leading the Detroit offense, 74 yards, 12 plays, just under 7 minutes, but something that Lions fans saw and saw a lot of last week. A lot of Matt Prater. Had to kick 5 field goals as another one of their possessions stalls. Sam Martin doing the kicking honors. Boots it through the back of the end zone as Barkley will have it from the 25.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Audi. K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K. And by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost.
A little stroll down memory lane from the previous 173 meetings between the Bears and Lions, and that guy was in a couple of those. Hall of Famer Barry Sanders in attendance today here in Detroit.
Played against him in college and in the NFL. Still trying to tackle him.
What a career for Sanders. He is among the 64,000 plus spectators here at Ford Field. One play called to Howard, minimal pickup brought down by Haloti Ngata. NFL on CBS is now CBS All Access. Stream your local games live. Visit cbs.com/NFL now to try it for free. Just another avenue for NFL fans to catch their favorite team on our platform here at CBS. 2nd and 7 with Barkley under center. Some pre-snap movement. Looked like Ziggy Ansah came across prematurely there. One play called again to Howard. Ansah had that terrific season last year, 3rd in the league with his 14.5 sacks. Still looking for his first in 2016.
Defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty and repeat, 2nd down.
Yeah, this lacks the discipline that Terrell Austin would like to see from his defense. Look, he'll jump off right there and get into that neutral zone, giving a free play to the Chicago Bears. But he needs to get it going because they're going to need his presence as a pass rush here today on defense.
Barkley gives to Howard again. Levy among the tacklers for Detroit. And that's something we've seen from this Detroit defense, tightening things up against the run. They've been terrific, Solomon, during this 7-1 stretch.
Well, if you think you could replace, as we look at a man down for Detroit, look like it's Ansah. Ziggy Ansah, just spoke about him, so he's going to get up and be able to walk off under his own power.
Ziggy Ansah clearly frustrated. It's been that kind of season for him. He was clutching at his forearm area, able to walk off in his own power, but for the moment, watching from the sideline, Anthony Zettel, their sixth round pick out of Penn State, first-year man, comes in and takes his spot. Barkley on 3rd and 4, puts some air under it. It is, what do the officials say? Incomplete. Bellamy caught it, but he was out of bounds. As he continues to plead his case, John Fox will send out his punt unit.
He's just got to be still. I don't know that he has to jump and see he double catches it. See, he bobbles it. He had 2 feet down. He just didn't make the clean catch. Would it have been a tough catch? Yes. Should he have made it? Absolutely. Good throw from his quarterback, Matt Barkley.
Roberts will watch this one take a Chicago bounce off the leg of O'Donnell. 51 yards on the punt, all tied at 3 on CBS.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly. And by Macy's.
There's some intense fans here. A lot of Bears fans, of course, here in Detroit. 1st and 10 as Matthew Stafford and the Lions offense back onto the field. A couple of field goals, all that these two offenses have to show for themselves so far. As we welcome you back to Ford Field, Spiro Dita-Sam and Wilcox, rest of our CBS crew. Here in week 14, Stafford under pressure, sidesteps the initial rusher. It was Floyd. Now Floyd giving chase again. Stafford run out of bounds as they apply the heat. The rookie Nick Kwiatkowski was coming hard as well. Kwiatkowski continues to start for the suspended Jarrell Freeman.
Watch the quickness of Matthew Stafford. Now, Leonard Floyd can run, but watch as he's stalking Stafford. Stafford's still able to run and pull away to save himself. This is something that we're seeing that's kind of new. We didn't see this in the past, so he had the ability, he just didn't use it. But boy, has he been very smart in growing and developing his game here in 2016.
Well, this was moments ago during the break. Ziggy Ansah walking into the Lions locker room.
All we could tell is that he broke his helmet.
Slammed that helmet down to the turf very, very hard just a couple of minutes ago. Clearly frustrated. That has been just the kind of season he's had. 2nd and 10. Stafford still wearing that glove on his throwing hand. Is going to sling it up the far side of the field. Incomplete. Intended for Jones, and a penalty flag comes in behind that secondary.
Oh, Jones working against Porter. Hasn't beat there. But Stafford couldn't get rid of it. And you can see he does grab at Marvin Jones, who's trying to come back to the ball. Stafford wanted to throw it, but the pressure wouldn't let him.
Defense, number 21. Ball replaced the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Here you see Stafford right here. You can see, wanted to throw it, but look, grabbed his arm and then he recocks, reloads and throws it down the field late. Porter recovers, but by grabbing Marvin Jones and drawing the penalty.
So the penalty on Porter turns out to be a 38-yarder. And now the Lions in business. They've got all 3 timeouts. 1st and 10 inside Chicago territory. Little sidearm delivery by Stafford. Incomplete. Off the hands of Ebron, who has struggled to justify that first-round pick at times that they took to take him back in 2014.
Got to be able to make these. It's right in the bread basket. And sometimes when those balls just kind of hang there as you're bobbling, the defender comes in, takes it away, and it can turn into an interception.
And that is the official update on Ansah. It is a shoulder. His return is questionable. Where does Stafford go here on 2nd and 10? He throws a dart intended for Tate. And once again, that Chicago defense, by the way, Solomon has had to move forward with that another key part last couple of weeks. Danny Trevathan, that devastating knee injury, holding tight.
This defense continues to play and play hard. Cravon LeBlanc on the play there. But John Fox, we talked about it. His team may struggle to win games, but they do come out, they compete, and they play hard on both sides of the ball.
Jarrell Freeman, of course, still in the midst of that 4-game suspension for PEDs, their leading tackler. Despite all the injuries, they continue to play at a very high level on that side of the football. Stafford's pass on 3rd and 10 is caught. That's Anquan Boldin with his first reception. And he does have enough for the first down, a pickup of 10.
You can always count on Anquan Boldin to make a play for you. 14 years, still getting it done like that. We told you he's more like the tight end, so if Eric Ebron doesn't hold on to the ball for you, Anquan Boldin will.
And with that reception, he has tied Andre Johnson for 10th all-time. 1,062 receptions in his incredible 14-year career. And all 3 timeouts left for the Lions. Buck 37 left before halftime. Now the Stafford pass is caught. This is Tate. Again, where he is so dangerous after the catch. Sprinting out of bounds. Looks like he's clutching at his left shoulder at the end of the play. Solomon, it's a pickup of 7, forced out of bounds by LeBlanc. Another reminder, the Verizon halftime report coming up. JB and the fellas standing by. Scores and highlights on the Verizon halftime report.
They've done a good job of conserving the timeouts here under 2 minutes. That was Golden Tate getting out of bounds. They didn't have to burn a timeout, but it's real good heads-up play as they're now entering that red zone where they have continued to struggle.
Second and 3. Stafford again to the air, looking towards the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Andre Roberts, who had that long 85-yard punt return for a touchdown in the first meeting between these two teams back in Chicago in week 4. And now a critical 3rd and short coming up.
You know, Stafford really does count on these receivers knowing what he knows and seeing the coverage the way that he sees it so that they can make the right adjustment. That's what Jim Bob Cooter has instilled in this offense. And now, do you go to an Anquan Boldin, or do you go try to get the ball down the field to Marvin Jones?
There's Jones lined up at the bottom of your picture. Looked like Stafford looked at him initially, goes through his reads, nowhere to throw. He'll tuck it away and try to run for the first down. There is a flag thrown right around the 21. It's a pickup of 5 and a first down if it stands.
Well, the protection's holding up for Stafford. He's moving well in the pocket also.
Illegal contact. Number 21 for the defense. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Well, that is the second huge penalty on this drive alone against Chicago's Tracy Porter.
He's working against Marvin Jones. That's where Stafford wanted to go with the ball, right down there. Keep an eye on Jones as he's ready to separate. Right there, he's holding him. And here comes the flag. Creating first down for this offense. Now remember, Detroit doesn't run the ball very well. They were 1 for 5 in the red zone last week against the Saints. We talked about the 5 field goals by Matt Prater. But they've got to be able to punch it in for 6.
DeAndre Hall, who's making his long-anticipated return, comes in. You saw Porter running to the locker room as that Stafford pass is batted down. So DeAndre Hall, the 4th-round pick, a rookie out of Northern Iowa, active the first 4 games of the season, then missed the last 8 with that high ankle sprain, thrust into a very critical juncture of this game.
Oh, yeah. You have to be able to come in and make some plays. Now Stafford's knocking on the door. It's got a minute. Where do you go here? I mean, Eric Ebron has been a guy that's really haven't come through for you, but you have to continue to give him opportunities if he gets the matchup advantage against a linebacker.
Dwayne Washington, the rookie running back, is split out towards the bottom of your screen. Stafford looks in his direction. Washington makes the catch. Went to the turf. Needed the first down. You see the pile continuing to move.
And they're losing time on the clock.
DeAndre Hall, Nick Kwiatkowski on the tackle, and how about the grit and the toughness shown by Washington? It's a first down and goal for Detroit.
Are they going to use these timeouts? That's what I want to know. Why would they keep them? Coach Caldwell is barking out. I think he wanted the officials to blow the whistle.
awful lot of time coming off the clock. So interesting game management here by Caldwell with all 3 timeouts in his back pocket. Under 30 seconds, marker thrown. Stafford will throw it out from the back of the end zone.
Wow. It's a lot of time burned off the clock there. I think Jim Caldwell was saying that, hey, he was down, and then he wanted to use the timeout. He's wanted to put the onus on the official.
Number 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
As Triplett tells us it's going to be holding on Riley Reef. But Jim Caldwell wanted to put the onus on the officials to blow that play dead, and they never allowed it. Now here's going to be the hold on Reef right there against Willie Young.
Young, Chicago's leading sack man entering the day. 7.5 sacks on the season. And now a timeout taken, it looks like, by John Fox and the Bears. So still all 3 timeouts left for Jim Caldwell, and he's certainly thinking about it. And with 24 seconds left to play, and this one all tied at 3. Week 14 continues later today on Fox. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC, a big one in the NFC East. And tomorrow, Monday Night Football, a game with all kinds of postseason implications in the AFC, New England and Baltimore. As the conversation continues between Caldwell and the officials.
Well, he's taking them to school down there. And what he's saying is that, hey, how long are you going to allow forward progress? Because they had the running back, Dwayne Washington, hemmed in, and no one was blowing the clock, but yet he wasn't going forward or gaining yards. And you can't call the timeout until the officials blow the whistle and kills the play. Here's the play. Now listen. So he gets up. Okay, there he hit. There's no forward progress. No whistle. Now the late one.
The only good news was that they were able to get the first down. They've got it first and goal. After the penalty, however, behind the 15, Stafford throwing towards the end zone. It is caught for the Lions. Touchdown. It's Anquan Boldin.
That was just a great route and a great throw from Stafford, working against the cornerback, Harold Jones-Corte. And he's going to work what we call a 7 route, where you just angle toward the pylon here, and then this ball is going to come right over the top. Take a look at this throw. Bam. Good separation by the 14-year veteran, Anquan Boldin. Good throw from his quarterback, Matthew Stafford.
And what a way for Boldin to take over sole possession of 10th place on the NFL's all-time career receptions list, 1,063. Good for his 7th touchdown catch of the season. Lions into the end zone for the first time. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, Anquan Boldin bolstering his Hall of Fame resume. Now 10th all-time on the league's receptions list, and some pretty good names on that list.
Still climbing. I mean, you know, when you lose a player like Calvin Johnson, and Anquan Boldin doesn't have the speed and overall athleticism as a Calvin Johnson, but Vince Lombardi said that 90% of the game is played from the neck up. The cerebral ability to read coverages and be there for your quarterback when he needs you, I think that's what he brings to the table, and he really does help this offense now in his 14th season.
And they say he is still a beast in the weight room, just an incredible workout regimen at his age. One of the reasons he has had such incredible longevity in his 14-year NFL career. Another reminder, the Verizon Halftime Report comes your way next. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by in our CBS studios in New York. All next on the Verizon Halftime Report. A Lions team that comes in red hot, winners of 4 straight, 7 of their last 8. A full 2-game lead over both Minnesota and Green Bay. They, of course, will wrap up the regular season here, Solomon, against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in Week 17. One play called by Barkley. As Howard able to fight his way across the 30. With the final 10 seconds coming off the clock.
Well, if you're the Bears, you cannot give up on this run game as you head into the second half. You've got to power it up with Jordan Howard, come back with some play-action passes, and these receivers have to catch the football for the Bears.
That 16-yard touchdown catch by Anquan Boldin. The difference, 10-3, Lions in front. The Verizon Halftime Report is next on CBS. A little Motown sound for you as the snow continues to come down heavy here downtown Detroit. And a look outside from inside Ford Field, 10-3, Lions in front of the Bears as we get you set for the second half. Alongside Solomon Wilcots, I'm Spiro Dedes. We talked about both of the quarterbacks. Matt Barkley, of course, making only his third career start, but we kind of anticipated Matthew Stafford stealing the show. He did have some issues, Solomon, with a finger that the trainers had to tend to, but got warmed up as the half went on.
I think he's used to overcoming adversity. When things start off bad for Matthew Stafford, he's able to weather the storm of getting hit on that middle finger on his throwing hand, had to go to a glove, had to make sure that he was comfortable, but he's continued to throw the ball with great accuracy despite having to go play with that glove on his right hand, getting the ball over to Golden Tate, to all of his receivers. This a 48-yard connection with Marvin Jones down the field, and then Anquan Boldin, we talked about him serving as the tight end, particularly down inside the red zone, getting the touchdown to put 10 points on the board before halftime, and so quarterback and receiver are on the same page.
Quarterback comparison, 2 quarters complete. Didn't see a lot of Barkley in the second quarter. Barkley 6 of 11 for 59 yards, but this is a game that is only separated by a touchdown, only 10-3, and something about this matchup, Solomon, it goes back to 1930, one of the oldest rivalries in the history of the sport. Just kind of throw the numbers out the window. Bears feel like they have a chance. Of course, beat them back in week 4.
Over the history of this series, the Bears have swept the Lions 13 times. In those 13 times when the Lions have been swept by the Bears, they have yet to make the playoffs. They're trending toward the playoffs in 2016, so they have to survive this game today against a very dangerous Chicago Bears football team. Don't let the record fool you. The Bears are competing against Matthew Stafford and company today.
See the first half numbers. 3 sacks on the Chicago side. That defense that has been so good despite the issues that they've had in a 3-9 season. And a reminder, you can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Ford Field, downtown Detroit. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, rest of our CBS crew, our producer Ryan Galvin, our director Andy Goldberg. Ziggy Ansah tries to work his way through a shoulder injury that he sustained toward the latter stages of that first half. Ansah, who just has not been the same guy, Solomon, that we saw last year. 14.5 sacks, as I mentioned earlier, 3rd most in the league. Doesn't have 1 so far this season.
Some players, they struggle playing with injuries. If they're not quite 100% or not quite right in all areas, they don't tend to be productive, and he's got to learn to play with some of these injuries and still put up numbers.
Sam Martin boots it away. This one will be played by Thompson from his own goal line. Thompson getting close to the 20 and brought down after a return of 18 yards. Solomon, how about some second half adjustments?
Well, if you're the Chicago Bears, you got to feed the ball to your running back Jordan Howard, and your receivers have got to catch the ball. Howard only 9 rushing attempts in the first half, not nearly enough. Detroit, that defensive line, they've got to get their hands up against the quick passing game of Matt Barkley and company. You know Matt Barkley wants to get it out quickly. The Lions can't seem to get pressure on them. They're not getting sacks, but they can get their hands up to bat down some of those quick passes.
So here's Barkley under center. First career road start since taking over for Jay Cutler a couple of weeks back. Play action on 1st and 10. That pass up the seam is caught. Bellamy, difficult catch. And Bellamy brought down after a couple of more after the reception. A pickup of 23 and a good start for the Bears as they get the first down.
This is going to be heavy play action. Go ahead and roll it. And you'll see Bellamy, he's lined up right there on the right side, number 11. Watch him come open. Takes a while for that play to develop. Not the best throw from Barkley, but Bellamy comes down with it. We were just saying that's one of the second half adjustments. Catch the ball when it's thrown to him.
So 23-yard pass play, 1st and 10. This is Howard breaking free again. Inside Lions territory now, late flag Right around the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Raphael Bush. A pickup of 14.
Holding, number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's Josh Sitton, their left guard, and it's coming back.
Yeah, Sitton's got to do a better job of not holding, because we can show you exactly. We'll show you here. Here he is, located right there. Now watch him. He's going to get DeAndre Levy right there. There's your holding. He hooked him. Levy's going to come underneath and make that tackle. Sitton's forced to hold him.
Sitton has been so good for Chicago. Of course, missed a game prior to last week with that ankle injury. So that takes a 14-yard run and a first down off the board. It's now 1st and 20. Barkley going underneath. That pass is caught. And it's Meredith on a little crossing route. It's a pickup of 4. Salmon, as we take a look at the Bears' first half possessions.
Oh yeah, not much is done. They got the field goal and that 12-play drive on their first possession of the game, and then forced to punt, and then take it in at the half. Now they've been able to make some plays. That 12-play drive was very impressive. They've got some good runs from Jordan Howard, but now they got to go back to him here in the second half.
On 2nd and 16, little delayed handoff. And Langford is going nowhere. A pickup of only a yard. This has been a Detroit defense that has allowed only 15.2 points, Salmon, over their last 6, getting better as the season wears down.
You know, they'll give you some yards, but they will not allow you into the end zone. We talked about it, keeping teams to that 20 points or lower in terms of that area. They don't allow you to get more than 20, but they've been one of the best in the league in terms of keeping teams out of the end zone.
See some of the Bears' third down numbers on the season. That is the tight end, Daniel Brown, 2nd catch. But well short of the first down. It's a pickup of 11 as John Fox will send out his punt unit.
And that's another example of just playing the sticks. They give up in completion to Matt Barkley, even give you some yards, but they don't allow you to convert the third down and able to get off the field.
So Barkley, 9 of his first 14, 97 yards. Trying to somehow get this offense into the end zone. Pat O'Donnell. It's a low snap. O'Donnell able to get it off. Roberts. Watch this one take a Lions bounce into the end zone. So 52-yard punt. Stafford and company from the 20 next. Well, on Tuesday, several Lions players participated in the team's annual Shop with a Lion event as they hosted kids from Orchard's Children's Services to take them Christmas shopping for themselves and their families. Great community outreach programs as we are a couple of weeks away from Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Spiro Diaz, Simon Wilcots from Ford Field in Detroit. 10-3 Lions in front of the Bears. Matthew Stafford will work from the gun as they took over from their own 20. This is Dwayne Washington. Again, no Theo Riddick today, out with an ankle injury. And speaking of Riddick and this offense, some of the old adage used to be sound running, the football in the NFL, and great defense wins you titles. We know the league has become pass happy, but they have had incredible success here with little to nothing in the way they're running it.
I asked Jim Caldwell about how you're winning these games. They can't run the football. They haven't had 100 yards rushing as a team in 10 consecutive games, so they're getting it done by leaning on their quarterback.
Hey, Guerrero! Pistol, Guerrero, tag 24!
Play clock down to 2. Washington spinning away from the initial tackler. It was Nick Kwiatkowski with a hard hit. To Salmon, just to get back to that, they haven't cracked 100 yards rushing as a team in the last 10 weeks.
The 4th worst rushing attack in the National Football League, but they can still win because they have the fewest turnovers of any team in the National Football League. They have few penalties, and they play great on special teams. And Jim Bob Cooter does a really good job of designing the bubble screens, these quick dart plays to kind of supplement the run game. And these receivers are really good at creating yards after the catch. And I think they sort of belie the point that you have to be able to run in order to win in the NFL.
Third down pass. Stafford to Ebron is caught. That's a Detroit first down, a pickup of 9. And when you got a guy like Matthew Stafford who's having a career year, it certainly kind of rights some of the wrongs and deficiencies in your offense.
And that's one of those kind of plays. Quick slant to the tight end, Eric Ebron. Don't have to run the football when you can have bubble screens to Golden Tate. Or you can just have Theo Riddick come out of the backfield, catch it, and make a guy miss, even though he's not playing today.
Matthew Mulligan, the tight end in motion with a run play called by Caldwell. And Jim Bob Cooter, that's Dwayne Washington, the 7th round pick out of Washington, able to cross the 40 and get close to the 41. Adrian Amos on the tackle, a pickup of 7.
And they hear us talking about the lack of a running game, and how about this play by Washington, as you talked about, offensive line getting them to the second level, and he's hitting it up in there. So that was a good-looking run play, effective enough to create 2nd and 3. This is where a quarterback normally will go deep with play action. 2nd and 3 known as a waist down, particularly in this area of the field.
That was their longest run of the day, a pickup of 7 to set up a 2nd and 3. Play action. Stafford under pressure, able to escape, and will slide ahead to the 45-yard line. And that will be enough for another Detroit first down. A nifty little rush of 4.
Well, we called for him to go deep, play action. Watch Golden Tate here. And I don't know why Matthew Stafford doesn't throw this. Look at that. He's open. I don't know why. The pressure started to come on him just maybe as soon as he saw it, or before he could look that way, but the play action pass deep was open for Golden Tate there, and Matthew Stafford couldn't pull the trigger.
So much made about Tate's slow start, first quarter of the season, that benching against the Bears that Solomon mentioned in week 4. He's been a different player since, and among the best wide receivers in the NFL. This is Zinner breaking tackles inside Bears territory down to the 42-yard line, a pickup of 13, and another Detroit first down.
I love it. We challenge the Lions on their running game. 4th worst in the NFL. Zach Zinner does this. He's running hard. This offensive line getting enough movement up front against a really good Bears run defense, only giving up 3.9 yards per rush attempt. Are the Bears defense 9th best in the NFL, but you can see between Washington, Zinner, and Stafford, they're able to keep the chains moving.
Let's go, Guerrero! Here's Guerrero! Track 53!
Play clock down to 1. Lions keep it on the ground to Washington here. Washington 9 touches last week before leaving that game in the 3rd quarter. Missed those 4 games back in October with an ankle injury, so they've had a couple of guys nicked up in that running back room.
And how about Stafford? That time he checked to the run play. He counted the defenders in the box. They were trying to play a quick pass. He said, I'm going to run it. He even told the running back which side they were going to go to. They didn't hand the ball off. So he's doing a good job of managing this game at the line of scrimmage.
Ready!
Eighth play of the drive. Stafford on 2nd and 8, crossing route. As multiple flags fly, that pass intended for Bolden is incomplete.
Offside defense, number 96. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's Akeem Hicks coming off the big performance against San Francisco. And John Fox lamenting a couple of big penalties against his defense in this game.
Yeah, he's just lined up in the neutral zone, Spiro. And, you know, that's just an undisciplined play there. You got to know how to line up without covering that ball. Have to be back off the football.
Hicks, the NFC's Defensive Player of the Week. A couple of sacks, the 11 tackles in the win over the Niners. With a fake pass and then handoff to Tate. As Cooter goes a little bit deeper into his playbook. And this kid, Leonard Floyd, 9th overall pick in the draft, had to come back from that devastating concussion suffered a couple of weeks back. He's been incredible.
Now you can see Floyd. See how he just stays put? We call this keeping leverage on the play. Stay outside, turn Tate back in to your help on the inside of the defense. That's just good disciplined heads-up play by the rookie Leonard Floyd.
Floyd, the leader among all NFL rookies with 7 sacks. The Georgia boy who played in the snow the first time in his life last week at Soldier Field against the Niners. Play clock again down to 1. 3rd and 4 pass from Stafford is batted down at the line of scrimmage. So again, that Bears defense able to make the necessary play on 3rd down. It was Hicks atoning for that previous penalty. Got his hand on the football.
This is what we talk about defensive linemen have to do against that quick pass game. Number 96, Akeem Hicks, 6'5", 335, getting that hand up, batting that ball up, turning back this Lions offense.
Here's Matt Prater, who has been perfect from this distance on the season. This one is on target, and it is good. Matt Prater now 6 of 6 from 50 and further. Detroit builds on its lead on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Charles Schwab. And by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Oh, Solomon, we've never been happier to be in a dome stadium as the snow seems to be following the Chicago Bears. Of course, had to play in a blizzard last weekend at home at Soldier Field.
Technology at its finest. You were talking to Leonard Floyd, who played in his first snow game 1 week ago against the 49ers in Chicago.
Had a chance to visit with Floyd yesterday as his fantastic rookie season continues. This is Deontay Thompson sprinting out past the 20, gets close to the 25, return to 27. Barkley and the Bears down 10. 13-3, Lions in front of the Bears back at Ford Field. Capacity crowd 64,000 plus. Bears and Lions second and final meeting here in week number 14. See the discrepancy in the number of offensive plays. Barkley and this Bears offense has been on the sideline an awful long time. This is Howard breaking free. Howard's so dangerous in the open field. A first down run of 31 for the rookie out of Indiana.
Yeah, he runs this right inside of Massey. He's able to get it right in here, or to the other side, excuse me, behind Sitton. But when you can get to that edge of the defense and they can't contain it, Jordan Howard's able to get outside. To me, this is what we talked about in the second half. You've got to be able to feed the ball to Jordan Howard, allow him to carry the offense.
Howard's got 79 yards on 10 carries as he approaches the century mark yet again. A delayed handoff, but the Lions defense able to sniff it out. And what a trying season it's been for the Chicago Bears. We know the injuries have decimated this team right from the start. Of course, starting right at the top, Jay Cutler missing the 5 games earlier in the season with a thumb. Of course, shut down with a shoulder. Brian Hoyer, that broken arm, ending his season. Danny Trevathan, the latest in a long list of key defensive players that have been out.
Each of their first-round picks in 3 of the last 4 years are out. Kyle Long, Kyle Fuller, Kevin White. Really tough year for the Bears.
Play action from Barkley. Up the seam on second and long. What a catch by Bellamy. Up in traffic. First down reception, a pickup of 17.
I've noticed something about Josh Bellamy. It's the easy ones he struggled with, but these tough ones, look at that. Plucks that ball right out of the air and makes it look easy. He's really good at catching the more difficult ones. It's a really good catch.
Career high 93 yards in that home win over San Francisco last week. Second catch today for just under 40. First and 10, Barkley throwing, end zone, has his man. It's caught. Cameron Meredith for the Chicago touchdown. And the Bears right back in it, 31 yards on the touchdown catch by Meredith.
Darius Slay and Bush on the play. He throws this in double coverage. It's just a really good play. Now watch Slay. He's going to be playing underneath Meredith. and then the safety, Tavon Wilson, coming over the top. Neither can get there. What a throw from Matt Barkley. I told you, he's made some plays. He's been impressive at times, and no throw so far this year more impressive than that one.
Fourth touchdown pass on the season for Barkley in his third career start in as many weeks. And once again, he has been economical and certainly efficient. 11 of 16 for a $144. It was the big run by Howard and the tough catch by Bellamy, and that set the stage for Meredith. 3-point game.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Garmin Fitness. Let's beat yesterday. And by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Now, Chicago offensively in the first half, just 107 yards. They had 75 on that drive alone. And what a pass by Matt Barkley. Cameron Meredith on the touchdown catch, hit it perfectly in stride, and we've got a brand new game, 13-10 on CBS. Oh, it's your last chance to vote for the 2017 Pro Bowl, and every vote counts. Voting ends on Tuesday night. Visit NFL.com/Pro Bowl to vote now. 3:19 to play. A 10-point Detroit lead has been cut to 3 on the 31-yard touchdown strike between Barkley to Meredith. First down run here by the rookie Dwayne Washington, getting close to the 30. And something about this Detroit team, Sam, when they just like to play in tightly contested games. Last week, of course, their first win this season in which they did not have to come from behind in the fourth quarter. Just incredible.
Well, Jim Caldwell believes it's made his team stronger. He believes that this team deals with adversity very well. They're used to playing in hotly contested games. And they have a quarterback who, since his rookie season, he's been known to bring his team back in the fourth quarter, something Matthew Stafford has shown early in his career.
Stafford turns and throws a dart to Golden Tate. That'll be a first down on the catch and run. A pickup of 9 as they do what they like to do, just get it into Tate's hands and get him into open real estate.
Yeah, these are those plays that supplement that struggling running game we talked about. Little bubble screen over to Golden Tate. Allow him to use his yards after the catch. Remember, leading all receivers in 2016 in producing yards after catching the football. And so he's like a runner, even though he's lined up on the perimeter and not in the backfield.
Just under the 2-minute mark, third quarter. Washington again trying to move that pile close to the Detroit 45. Update time, JB and Coach Cowher.
The Bell weather.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell, great balance, great vision, great acceleration when needed. Third touchdown of the day right there from 5 yards, 149 on the day. First time he's had 3 touchdowns rushing in a game. They lead 21-7.
Spiro and Solomon.
Patience incredible by Le'Veon Bell.
And our Jason LaConfora with an interesting report out of Buffalo. Some more discord between Rex Ryan and ownership there. And so that situation continues to unfold. Second down run by Washington. Once again able to move the chains. A pickup of 5. And we haven't seen any big runs from Washington or any of these Lions runners, but some of them are starting to get effective.
Yeah, but the ability to convert in that situation and the confidence of Jim Bob Cooter, Matthew Stafford, who has often checked to some of these runs that we're seeing and allowing the run game to help stimulate the offense. Jim Bob Cooter gives him a couple of plays and it's up to Stafford, as you can see right here at the line of scrimmage, to count the number of defenders in the box and get them into the more efficient and productive play.
Snap it right from midfield. First down pass. Tate on a crossing route. And that is ruled incomplete. So a rare drop by Tate, who's been so effective since that slow start the first 4 weeks.
When you don't catch it cleanly the first time, you allow the defender to come in and do this. And that's Cre'Von LeBlanc. As Tate was juggling it, LeBlanc could come in and knock it away. And Matthew Stafford said, hey, okay, we had it. Let's make sure we secure it. You know, when you hear ball security, you often think about the quarterback or the running back. But for receivers not to double clutch it and catch it the first time.
I haven't seen many drops today, but that has been an issue for Detroit. 24th drop pass thrown by Stafford. That's the most of any team in the league. This is Washington again. Washington going airborne at the end of that play. A pickup of a dozen. Another hard-fought run to earn the first down for the Lions, and that should take us close to the end of the quarter. Lions may try to snap one more here, as Washington now at 58 yards on the ground. As we arrive at the end of the third, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, so much at stake for the Detroit Lions, up 13-10 over the Bears as we begin the fourth quarter. Ford Field, downtown Detroit. Injury update from the Bears sideline. Eddie Goldman, their starting nose tackle, is dealing with an ankle injury. His return is questionable. Spiro Beatus, Alvin Wilcox, Week 14 here on CBS. Dwayne Washington, who has become the workhorse. No Theo Riddick, if you've just joined us, out late scratch with an ankle injury. And Washington now 14 carries for 58 yards as they get ready for 2nd and 10.
And that was the 7th play on this drive and the 5th time that Matthew Stafford has called the run play. He's counting the number of defenders in the box, and he's not going to try to force anything in the passing game. He's going to keep the ball on the ground. He's attacking that defensive front. With Goldman out of the game, he's allowing the rushing attack to get going in Detroit.
Stafford pump fakes on 2nd and 10 under pressure, stumbling backwards to the turf as he threw that pass on awkward looking play. Good pressure applied by the Bears. It'll be 3rd and 10 coming up.
Stafford kind of gets out of sync, wants to climb the pocket here, but see that stunt by Floyd forced him out of the pocket. He almost ran right into the sack right there, but then see him jump outside. By then, Parnell McPhee right on top of him. All he could do was throw it away.
See the pressure that Stafford has had to deal with. Good job by McPhee, a member of that Ravens Super Bowl squad in Baltimore in 2012. Again, a staff that included Jim Caldwell. 3rd and 10. Stafford's going to throw it off the far side. It is incomplete. Jones, the intended receiver, and another penalty flag flies.
I love the way Marvin Jones is trying to fight to work his way back to the ball. First, it's going to be Cre'Von LeBlanc. And then Deion Bush comes over. I don't know which guy hit him first.
Pass interference, number 22, defense. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul, 1st down.
Yeah, LeBlanc is who they're going to call it on, but Jones did a good job. He knew that ball was going to be thrown in a tight spot, but as he tried to work his way back to the ball, that's what kind of caused the collision, and LeBlanc just ran right into him, interfered with Jones's ability to make the catch.
LeBlanc, the rookie, undrafted, out of Florida Atlantic, cut. The final roster cut down by New England in early September and then picked up by the Bears. So it turns out to be a 23-yard penalty, 1st and 10. One play called for Washington as he inches a little bit closer to the 10. One score of note right now, update from Jacksonville. The Jaguars in front of Minnesota Solomon 16-12. Vikings, of course, 2 games back along with Green Bay as they both continue to chase Detroit in the north.
How about this? Detroit can take care of business here, trying to win their first division title in 23 years.
Part of the NFC Central, 1993. Hard to believe it's been that long. Eligible receiver here is Corey Robinson, 70. But they keep it on the ground again to Washington as they just now try to pound the Chicago defense. That was Hicks on the tackle.
All week long, Jim Bob Cooter, the offense coordinator for the Lions, really talked about needing to improve their red zone offense. We talked about the fact they struggled 1 week ago, going 1-5 in the red zone against the Saints. It's the one area they worked on. By the way, you know, Jim Bob Cooter, he takes a lot of flack for the name. Can we just call him JBC? Can we just do that? You know, this is a smart guy. He's bright, really good football coach.
John Fox says he just likes to say his name. And you see the time of possession. It's something that Cooter will certainly like. Stafford going end zone, deflected, and is it picked? Yes, it is. Intercepted by DeMontre Hurst. And what a bad break for Detroit. Golden Tate was the intended receiver. John Fox getting a monstrous play from his defense. The Lions in the midst of this incredible 7-1 stretch. They had turned it over just 3 times in those 8 games. As that Stafford pass is picked by Hurst off the deflection. Meantime for the Bears, only their 9th takeaway of the season, tied for the 2nd fewest in the NFL. Stafford, who's been so good in the red zone, victimized by the deflection. That is Howard, able to run out of bounds by Levy. And it will be 2nd down coming up. Tonight, a news-making interview with the Prime Minister of Israel. Plus, how effective can TV commercials be? See the one that helped end the war. 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS.
Rare occurrence. This offense doesn't turn it over. We talked about 2 interceptions in his last 9 games. It's only his 6th interception all season long.
Now those 2 interceptions thrown in Chicago, the first meeting between these 2 teams back in week 4. Barkley on the way down the field, bit of a miscommunication perhaps, as that pass was thrown to really no one in particular. Deontay Thompson, the man who was running the route, and then just kind of stopped.
Oh, it's just remarkable. You know, we talk about you intercept all tips and overthrows. Bryce McCallahan, he tipped that ball, distracting Golden Tate. It ricochets off the face mask of Tate. Hurst scoops it up. It's a fortuitous bounce of the ball for the Chicago Bears, and unfortunate for the Detroit Lions. Now their defense has to make a play.
There is a flag on the field behind the line of scrimmage around the Chicago 13.
There is no foul on the play for an intentional grounding, as the quarterback is not under pressure, even though there was no receiver in the area.
All right, that's Jeff Triplett, our lead referee, who's been an awfully busy man, as is usually the case with this crew. So 3rd and 9. In a 3-point game. Blitz coming. Barkley somehow escapes, and that pass low is nearly picked. Pressure applied by Whitehead.
And then they throw a late flag. Looked like a play that was well defended by Detroit, and the late flag comes in the secondary. Could create a new set of downs for Chicago.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 30, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Boy, that is newly signed Asa Jackson. Signed just this week off the Ravens practice squad. Big defensive penalty against the Lions.
Go ahead and roll it. We'll show you where the holding is going to occur. It's going to be right there. Yep. Right there. Going to be Asa Jackson right there working against Meredith.
Look out!
One play call. This is Howard again. Over the 80-yard mark, rushing the football. 2nd among rookie runners in rushing yards on the season, behind only Dallas's Ezekiel Elliott. That time a pickup of 9. It'll be 2nd and short.
It seems like every time he carries the ball, it's 5, 6, 9-yard run, if not more. He does have a run for 31 yards already in this game. Getting ever so close to that 100-yard mark.
Wait, 20!
Kadeem Carey giving Howard a breather. This is Carey here. And that'll be enough for the Chicago first down. The former 4th-round pick out of Arizona. Only his 31st rush on the season as Chicago gets a fresh set of downs.
Now, we told you Chicago knows how to fight. I mean, they come up with that turnover just as it looks like the Bears, we're going to give up a touchdown. John Fox defense gets the turnover, and now the offense is on the move. They could tie it up or take the lead on this drive. And Matt Barkley has looked really good here in the second half.
Get out! 120! Look out!
Play action from Barkley on first down. That pass thrown low is incomplete, intended for Bellamy. And it will be 2nd and 10 coming up. A reminder to keep it here after the game ends for the Subway post-game show. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by. They'll have all the latest scores and highlights on the Subway post-game show. Bellamy will be looked at by the Chicago trainers.
Second down, what do you like to do? You like to maybe run the football and try to create third and manageable instead of trying to get it all on one play.
Barkley underneath. This is Howard finding some open pasture in front of him. First down and more on the catch and run. He's so shifty once he gets into the flat. As Howard now approaching 100 scrimmage yards. Again, a pickup of 19.
These screen plays are just like a run play. It's just an extended handoff with the offensive lineman already out in front of Jordan Howard. But I thought it was smart to get the ball into his hands on second down, and they end up getting it all with that catch and run by Jordan Howard. Look at him. He's so good at producing, running and catching the football.
He has averaged 129 scrimmage yards since week 8. 5th best in the NFL. Barkley under pressure. That pass boy nearly picked. My goodness. Whitehead had it and somehow dropped it.
Whitehead was in great position to get this interception. You keep them all in front of you, but the intercept ball tips and overthrows. That ball was overthrown, intended for Jordan Howard. Whitehead had it right in his hands. Could not pull it off the turf. Look at that. But we say pressure leads to picks. Look at the pressure here by Hayden Jr. Nearly led to an interception on the back end by Whitehead.
Whitehead, their leading tackler. Didn't play last week with that knee injury. Huge break for Barkley and the Bears. A little short pass. This is Langford. Inside the 45, a pickup of only a yard. And this is the big one coming up here. 3rd and 9 as we come up on the final 9 minutes.
What do you do here? The receivers have gotten open. Coach Fox talked about the young receivers. Cameron Meredith, Josh Bellamy. They're running good routes. The ball's coming out of the hand in a timely manner and an accurate manner from the quarterback, Matt Barkley. So you try to isolate one of those two receivers and see which one can make a play.
Third and 9. Barkley escapes initially, but sacked. Kerry Hyder getting there for the Lions. First sack of Barkley this afternoon.
You can see Bellamy locked up by Darius Slay. He's not open. At the bottom, this is going to be Deontay Thompson. He can't get open. He's covered. And that's why Barkley's forced to hold on to the ball. The initial pressure provided by Haloti Ngata.
This kid, Kerry Hyder, who has come out of nowhere from practice squad player with the Jets and these Lions to now their leading sack man and one of the best in the NFL at his position.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon. The Quicksilver Card from Capital One. And by the new 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep free to be.
Well, Detroit's defense getting the stop that they so desperately wanted. And And this has been a theme. So many close games. We mentioned the fourth quarter comebacks, 7 of them orchestrated by Stafford. Can they put the Bears away here? Up 3 with 8:02 remaining. Difficult starting field position here inside their own 10. One play to Zenner, the second-year man out of South Dakota State. We mentioned just how long it's been since their last division title, 1993. Every other team in the NFC has won at least 3 division crowns. Just incredible.
Those other teams have been busy, and the Lions have not been. But to think they've all won 3 division titles, the Lions have been shut out. And you can see from the playoff race at number 3 seed, well in hand right now. But you got to be able to put these Bears away with 8 minutes to go, or just under 8 minutes, to be able to drive the length of the field and put it away.
Stafford from the gun. That pass, boy, dangerously thrown, incomplete. As it falls to the turf, it was hanging in the air as these Lions fans holding their breath for that split second. It'll be 3rd down coming up.
They're playing these bubble screens, and look, they were in there on that. Looked like LeBlanc in on the play as that pass was intended for Roberts. You know, we say we intercept all tips and overthrows. That ball was tipped and landed in a crowd of Chicago Bears defenders.
So Stafford incomplete, as you see, on 5 straight attempts. This will be 3rd and 5 from their own 14. They'll pick up that pass, is intercepted. It's Cre'Von LeBlanc, and he's in for the Bears, pick 6.
You have to wonder if the glove on that throwing hand of Matthew Stafford causes him to throw that ball behind the intended receiver. LeBlanc made a really nice break on it, folding in and taking it to the house. Here he is lined up on the right side of that screen. Watch him jump in the hip pocket of the intended receiver right there. Just a great play. He was covering against Anquan Boldin. Watch him break on it. The ball was thrown behind Boldin and really should not have been thrown by Matthew Stafford. It was great coverage by LeBlanc.
First career interception by the rookie LeBlanc, who John Fox said he noticed for the first time during joint practices with New England back in training camp. And what a moment for that young man. Intercepting Matthew Stafford and turning this game on its head. The Bears answering 24 yards on the interception return. First pick 6 by a Bears defender since September the 22nd, 2014. Ryan Mundy. This time it's Cre'Von LeBlanc, 24 yards on the pick 6. And the Chicago Bears back-to-back touchdowns to move in front. And this place has gotten quiet in a hurry. Down 4 with 7:05 to play. This is Roberts, crosses the 20 and brought down at the 23-yard line. So the Lions now the Bears the only team to intercept Stafford twice in a game, and they've now done it twice.
And they did it week 4. They picked him off twice in that game and came away with a win, and they've done it again here today. And the earlier interception, as the Lions were looking to score, and then they get the pick 6 and get points on the board themselves. 2 interceptions today. Look, only 3 against the rest of the National Football League. So the Bears truly know something about Matthew Stafford and this Detroit Lions offense that the rest of the league don't know anything about.
And 1st and 10, Stafford's pass a little bit low, and that is caught. See the fight for the football at the end of the play. Marvin Jones, the man who makes the catch, wrestling with Bryce Callahan for the football. So they will mark it right around the 33 as Stafford tries to get this offense going. Jones, 3rd catch for 59 yards.
Tie goes to the offense, Bureau. Just so everyone knows, they were both wrestling for. Remember, John Fox hired Jim Bob Cooter, offense coordinator here in Detroit, hired him when they were with the Denver Broncos. I think he knows a lot about this offense, more than most.
Anquan Boldin in motion on 2nd and 2. This is Zenner. It's a 1st down run and more. powerful looking run from center. Now late flag thrown right around the 40, as you can see. It's an 11-yard run.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 90, defense. 15 yards added to the end of the play. First down.
So the Bears defense will be backed up a little bit further. Down to 6:06 to play. There's John Fox and the Bears in front, 17-13.
There he is. There's Washington right there. Hand to the face. Officials not going to miss that.
Washington, the former 6th-round pick out of Georgia. So they move inside Bears territory, 1st and 10 from the 42. Play action from Stafford. He's going to throw it. This one is caught. It'll be a minimal gain, actually a loss of a yard. It's Joique Bell, whom they signed just this week. Busy weekend for Bell. Second stint with the Lions. Actually received his master's degree in sports administration yesterday. A couple of short miles from here. Saw him at Wayne State.
They're going to bring him back out of the game. You know, this game on the line, trailing in the 4th quarter. Lions have the Bears right where they want. This is what they do.
7 come from behind wins, as we mentioned. Prior to last week, it trailed in the 4th quarter in every game they had played this season. Underneath pass, Bolden breaking free inside the 25, brought down finally just shy of the 20. Bryce Callahan wraps him up. It's a pickup of 22 and a Lions first down.
Yeah, there's the missed tackle right there. You don't get him down, then he's going to run for a significant gain. Missed tackles allow big plays to happen. And that's exactly what the Lions take advantage of, and knocking on the door in the red zone. Last time they were here, that ball was intercepted in the end zone.
Bolden, a guy who's just about done it all. Super Bowl champion, 3-time Pro Bowler, former Offensive Rookie of the Year back in 2003. After the Cardinals took him in the 2nd round. Snap taken by Stafford in the gun, and a huge collision between center and Kwiatkowski. And boy, a couple of young guys a little bit slow to get to their feet.
Can't say who won that one.
You remember what that's like, right?
Sure do. Clears your sinuses, that's for sure, on a cold day. How about Stafford, though? Already 7 come from behind 4th quarter wins so far this year. They get a win here today, it'll be 8. But why do they put themselves in this position? They're very comfortable here.
Clock continues to run, 3:36 to play. Stafford 2nd and 9, throwing towards the end zone. It's incomplete. And there comes the flag at the end of the play. Roberts, the intended receiver.
They got it on Callahan, looks like, number 37.
The pass was high, Sam. It was kind of overthrown, but...
Well, it was thrown as if the receiver...
Pass interference, defense, number 37. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
You see Roberts wants to run a vertical route here. And that's where Stafford's expecting to get. See right there, see he held him. And that's why the ball was thrown that way. It looked like it was thrown high, but it was thrown in the area where the receiver was going, at least where Stafford expected him to go. But his pass route was obstructed by Callahan.
3rd pass interference call against the Chicago defense in this game. Gives the Lions a 1st and goal. Stafford going underneath. It's incomplete. Off the hands of Washington, who's been so solid for them the last couple of weeks. It'll be 2nd and goal. Amos was there on the coverage.
Matthew Stafford knows he throws this low. Whenever the runner, particularly a running back, not a receiver, is running away from you, you've got to get the ball above the knee area. If they've got to go below the knees to catch it around the top of their shoe tips, it's going to be very difficult as they're running away from the quarterback, and that's why you saw Stafford say, hey, that one was on me.
The Lions team trying to maintain this 2-game lead atop the division standings in the NFC North. Right now down 4, 2nd and goal. Stafford under pressure, gonna tuck it away and run for it inside the 5, and he's in for the Lions touchdown. And Detroit back in front.
You know, it's not as pretty as a Cam Newton or some of the other running quarterbacks around the NFL, but you just love the grit and poise of Matthew Stafford. Watch, all his receivers are going to be covered. Wants to go to his left, nowhere to go there. Under pressure. Now watch him attack the line of scrimmage, and now he attacks the goal line. I saw him make plays like this, Spiro, during his rookie campaign with a dislocated shoulder. He brought his team from behind in a win against Cleveland. And from then on, he owned the town, he owned the team, and everyone knew he could come back in the fourth quarter.
Can't question Stafford's grit and toughness. First rushing touchdown of the season and a 13th of his 8-year career. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by PlayStation. Every day is the big game on PlayStation. Greatness awaits. And by Subway. Try the classic Reuben, stacked with corned beef. Limited time only.
(20-17) Lions. 7-yard touchdown run. First rushing touchdown for Stafford on the season. What else would you expect? You've been watching the Lions all season. All the come-from-behind wins in the fourth quarters. 8-4, a team that's won 4 straight and 7 of its last 8 as they sit atop the North. This one booted through the back of the end zone by Sam Martin. Here comes Matt Barkley for Chicago. Next Sunday, the playoff picture falling into place. NFL on CBS has you covered. Doubleheader action. First Steelers-Bengals. And then the Patriots and the Broncos in Denver in an AFC showdown. Check your local listings. Fun starts with JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Play action from Barkley on first down. Barkley going to throw, and that pass is batted down and incomplete. Intended for Howard, who has not been nearly effective as a pass catcher out of the backfield. Nice defensive play by Josh Bynes along the sideline.
Bynes in tight coverage, cutting up stuff, but he plays the football. When you play the football, you're not going to get a flag as much as Matt Barkley would like one.
Second and 10 pass is caught. That's Thompson. Lunges close to the 30. Bears need the 35 for the first down. Now the biggest play call of the day for Matt Barkley and this Chicago offense. Down 3.
Now, Thompson is a quick player who's got that darting-like movement. They wanted to get him the ball in space so he can maybe convert and pick up the first down. Now 3rd and 6. John Fox needs someone to make the play for his quarterback, Matt Barkley. Now, Barkley doesn't take off and run with it. He's going to stand in there as long as he has to until a receiver gets open.
Third and 6. Barkley slinging it. It is caught. It's right at the first down marker. It is enough. As the official signal, Daniel Brown, the second-year man out of James Madison. First down Bears.
Daniel Brown, he's been really good. Filling in for Zach Miller, finds the seam in the zone, makes the catch. Remember, we talked about the second half adjustments for this Lions defense, that they've got to get their hands up against the quick passing game of the Chicago Bears. Didn't get their hands up there, and Brown makes the catch.
2-minute warning, 3-point game on CBS. Fourth quarter score from Jacksonville. The Vikings, of course, 2 games back in the division behind Detroit. They're down a 2-point game against the Jaguars. Here in Detroit, 1st and 10, Barkley and company. Back to the airways again. That's the tight end Brown, who had a touchdown catch a couple of weeks ago against Tennessee in the loss at home. As things getting it tight. Of course, all kinds of implications in this game, not just for the Lions, Solomon, but Detroit loses, then Dallas would clinch the number 2 seed in the NFC. So that postseason picture starts to crystallize.
Yeah, they would get at least the number 2 seed, meaning a first-round bye. They still have that number 1 seed out in front of them, but you're right. Implications are here in Detroit.
Target line right around the 40. Another pass play, crossing route. That's Bellamy on the catch. First down, Bears. And this is where that calmness and the demeanor of Barkley, Solomon, that John Fox was talking about, really comes into play as he runs that 2-minute offense.
Now he's almost better in this hurry-up situation. We talked to him about it. He says, hey, the defense gets more simple when we're in a hurry-up because there's only so many things they can do.
90 seconds left. Barkley's pass deflected and incomplete off the hands of Meredith. Career-long field goal for their kicker, Connor Barth, is a 57-yarder. It was against Denver back in 2011, so that means they have to get right around the Detroit 40.
One of our halftime adjustments was, and catch the football, because we've seen this way too many times, whether it's Bellamy or Meredith putting it on the ground. As you take a look at Connor Barth, 3 timeouts still in the hip pocket for the Chicago Bears.
One thing to keep in mind, the Detroit defense leads the league in interceptions inside the final 2 minutes of the 4th quarter. They've got 5 of them. What a catch here, once again by Brown.
Not only a great catch, he's able to survive the collision and fall forward for a couple of yards, getting close to that first down marker. 3rd down.
Brown, who entered the day with only 5 catches on the season. Run play called. The Detroit native, Jeremy Langford, that's a first down run. A pickup of 3 inside the 45 as now Chicago will take their first of 3 timeouts. John Fox and the Bears trying to play spoiler. Lions 8-4, 2 games up in the division. Trying to close in on what would be their first division title in 22 years. Barkley's pass is caught. Meredith still on his feet. Meredith inside the 20. Meredith to the 15-yard line. Darius Slay forced him out of bounds. 27 yards, and it's coming back.
Penalty, still first down.
Wow. Big time play, but they're going to get a holding on number 72, Charles Leno. He's going to be the left tackle. Take a look right there. Working against Ziggy Ansah. There's your hold right there. Near takedown. But what a play in the passing game. These receivers, they're young. They get open. They make plays. They may drop 1 or 2. But boy, this young team for John Fox, they continue to fight.
That is a killer 27-yard pass play negated, and you saw Chicago 129 penalty yards against them. 48 seconds left. 1st and 20. Barkley throws a dart, and it is caught.
What a play.
Daniel Braverman, the 7th-round rookie out of Western Michigan. Another flag is thrown.
Holding, number 62, offense.
Unbelievable.
10-yard penalty, still first down.
Every way possible. Whether it's receivers dropping passes or offensive linemen like Larson getting a holding call on a great pass play. Here he is at the right guard position against Haloti Ngata. Passes him off, and then right here. Yeah, that's just every time. You got to block and trust that your quarterback, Matt Barkley, is going to get rid of it every single time. You do the best you can to block and stay in front of them, but once they get past you, you have to let them go. Wow.
Bears right now going in the wrong direction. 1st and 30. This is Brown again. The first down is all the way up at the Detroit 33-yard line. Connor Barth, again, a target line for them right around the Detroit 40. His career long, as I mentioned, 57 yards. That was back in 2011.
Both of those previous passes by Bellamy as well as Braverman would have put them in field goal range. It's incredible. Comes right back off because of holding penalties.
Where do they go on 2nd and 25? Barkley's pass a bit high and incomplete. No flag. That Bears sideline chirping. Deontay Thompson was covered by Lawson on the play.
You can see the tight coverage intended for Thompson. Lawson kind of stumbles there. Looked like there was a collision. Look at that right there. See, he's grabbing hold of him prior to the arrival of the ball. You know, you can't judge, okay, how much did he interfere? If there's contact on the receiver before the arrival of the ball, that's pass interference.
3rd and 25. Barkley's pass is caught. That's Meredith breaking a couple of tackles, brought down right around the 47, a pickup of 14. And now it looks like a timeout has been taken by the Bears, with a 4th and 11 coming up and 18 seconds left in a 3-point game. Another reminder to keep it here. Coming up, the Subway postgame show. JB and the fellas standing by in our New York studios. A busy week 14 around the NFL as the playoff picture starts to come together in both conferences. And Solomon, it's the biggest play call of the day coming up for the Bears on a 4th and 11.
Well, the fact that they do have one timeout, they can attack over the middle of the field because they're attacking the linebacker, number 57, Josh Bynes. Just watch him because he's not able to match up and help his corners on any of those crossing routes over the middle of the field. As long as the protection holds up, they're getting receivers open over the middle of the field, and if they do so, they have a timeout left to stop the clock.
Barkley's pass up the middle is deflected. What's the call here? They say incomplete, and it will be a turnover on downs. It was Bellamy trying to go airborne for the catch. And the Lions are going to survive here at home.
They wanted to go over the middle of the field. As you can see, he's looking the whole time and had a chance to get the ball into Bellamy. Bellamy couldn't haul it in, even though there was tight coverage here by Darius Slay Jr. Look at that. Slay gets a hand in there. Not sure if he was able to touch that ball. It did get into the body of Josh Bellamy, who we told you, drop the easy ones, hold on to the more difficult ones. He had a chance to make a play for Barkley. Wow, we've seen this before from the Bears just 2 weeks ago against the Titans.
So Bears team down to their 3rd different starting quarterback. An incredibly thin wide receiving core will fall to 3-10 on the season. Meantime, the Detroit Lions survive as they move to 8-1 in their last 9 games. They've won 5 straight. Updated look at the NFC playoff picture. Detroit now moves to 9-4. Of course, Seattle and Green Bay coming up later this afternoon. So the final score, the Lions over the Bears, 20-17. Now for Solomon Wilcott, Spiro Dita saying so long from Detroit. Coming up next, the Subway postgame show will bring you back to New York right after this on CBS.